Indonesian Navy boats have resumed a search for a passenger plane that's believed to have crashed in the Java Sea with 62 people on board. The plane lost contact with air traffic controllers only minutes after taking off from the Indonesian capital Jakarta last night. Our Indonesia correspondent Anne Barker joins me now. Anne, what's the latest?
Nadia, the search did resume, as you said, this morning at first light, about 6 a.m. in Jakarta, which is 10 a.m. in Sydney. There were about 12 Navy ships that went out last night to waters about 20 kilometres north of the capital, Jakarta, in an area called the Thousand Islands. Now, authorities believe they know where the plane went down. It's between two islands, roughly Laki and Lanchang Island. This morning, a plane, or at least one plane, if not more, joined that search. And the searchers will be looking at some of the debris that fishermen found last night that could be from the plane. They found some cables, some pieces of jeans and other metal objects that they believe are from the plane, and that will be something they're focusing on this morning.
Yes, certainly. Well, what more do we know about the flight at this stage?
Well, this plane, as you say, had 62 people on board, including 10 children, 7 older children and 3 babies. It was en route to Pontianak, the capital of West Kalimantan province. It disappeared from radar only a few minutes after takeoff, and the data from the flight suggests that it plunged at least 1,000 metres in the space of 1 minute. It took off in heavy weather. The flight had been delayed for up to an hour. So that is one suggestion as to what might have gone wrong. But certainly the map, there is a map that shows the route the plane took, and just before it disappeared, it seemed to veer off course. Instead of going slightly northeast, it went northwest before it completely lost contact with the air traffic controllers. Now, we have seen that family were waiting at Pontianak airport, obviously distraught, distressed. We saw vision of one man looking at a photograph of presumably his young daughter. And obviously those distressed families will be waiting for news sometime in the hours ahead.
Gosh, absolutely. And hard to see those pictures of those devastated family members waiting for news of their loved ones. Have there been previous crashes in the area where this flight went down?
Nadia, this is really eerily similar to what happened when a Lion Air plane went down just over 2 years ago. It also took off from Jakarta airport and it went down, it disappeared within minutes. It also crashed in the Java Sea, perhaps a little bit closer to the mainland. But it is eerily similar in that respect, and the searchers obviously will be bringing back debris to the mainland in the way that they did with that flight as well. There's a very poor safety record in Indonesia. In fact, a few years ago, Sriwijaya Air was named by airline ratings as one of the 10 least safe airlines in the world. I don't believe that is still the case now, but certainly this crash will mean that is reassessed. A few years ago, 6 years ago, there was a plane, Air Asia flight from Surabaya to Singapore that also crashed, killing all 162 people on board, also in the Java Sea. So that particular area of Indonesia has been the scene of several crashes. Of course, elsewhere in Indonesia too, there's been a litany of crashes and incidents over the years involving most Indonesian airlines.
Certainly viewers will be hearing this, seeing those pictures and reminded perhaps of those other high-profile Boeing crashes and incidents over the past year or two. But what more can you tell us about airline standards in Indonesia itself?
Look, it seems to be an issue of perhaps ageing aircraft, poor infrastructure and just poor safety. The Lion Air crash that went down a couple of years ago, obviously that sparked a huge controversy for Boeing, especially when there was another similar flight that crashed in Ethiopia. 2 737 MAX 8 planes, and that exposed some real problems around the world with the the flight sensors on board that caused those planes to nosedive just as it was ascending, which is what caused those 2 crashes. So there have been issues both in Indonesia with the safety records there, but also with Boeing. And that plane, the MAX 8, has only recently in the last month returned to the air. But this was not. The crash of this Sriwijaya plane is a 737-500. So at this stage, there's no suggestion that some of those issues in the Lion Air plane might have been also at fault with the Sriwijaya plane. We're yet to hear, obviously, where it crashed and just what caused it.
Certainly a lot more of this story to come. Anne, thank you so much. That was Anne Barker, our Indonesia correspondent.